There's probably nothing more annoying than a contrarian on the internet, and I am being that guy. Not this commenter, me, I'm blaming myself. So this commenter is saying that Beethoven pushed music forward, which I largely agree with, but I just want to posit an alternative point of view just to get us thinking. Richard Taruskin in the Oxford History of Western Music makes the argument that in terms of pushing music from the classical era into the Romantic era, that Schubert was actually a more important composer than Beethoven. I think he makes some really, really good arguments. Let me actually first dispute Taruskin, and then we'll talk about his arguments. So I think when it comes to the symphony, there is no question that Beethoven changed the whole game. There are two kinds of symphonies, in my opinion, ones that were composed before Beethoven and ones that were composed from Beethoven after. He changed the scope, he changed the style, just everything about the Romantic Symphony, I think, owes much, much more to Beethoven than to anybody that came before Beethoven. Now, obviously, Beethoven owed a lot to those that came before him, Mozart, Haydn, etc., but Beethoven really changed the symphony in very, very significant ways. Now, when it comes to other genres, particularly songs, but also things like string quartets, piano sonatas, etc., I think Taruskin makes a very good argument that Schubert is really responsible for a lot of what came later in the Romantic era, and particularly that's true of his harmonic language. Schubert was experimenting with keys that were in interval cycles. He was experimenting with chord relationships that were really unusual. There are a lot of things that he's doing that are really harmonically more advanced than Beethoven, which makes sense. They died only a year apart, but Schubert was 31 years old when he died. So he was a full generation later than Beethoven, younger and thinking sort of more forward and ahead by the time Beethoven died. I would say, if you really want to understand Schubert's harmonic language, the last two piano sonatas are a great place to start. The A major, D959, and the B flat major, D960. That first movement of the B flat major, D960, it does not get much better than that in terms of piano music, in my humble opinion. Those do things harmonically that are really, really advanced and incredible, and would not be replicated for several decades after Schubert's death. So I think Taruskin's really got a solid argument that Schubert is at least as important, if not, as Taruskin argues, more important than Beethoven in terms of bringing in a lot of what we start to see in the Romantic era that followed.